Billy Corgan goes opera for the 30th anniversary of Mellon Collie and the Infinite Sadness. Spinal Tap is going to be returning to movie theaters in 2025. You can pay $12,000 to be a roadie for a day for Gene Simmons. And has the Oasis reunion lineup finally been revealed? Let's break it all down on this edition of the Rock News Roundup Podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Rock News Roundup Podcast, your destination for the latest in rock music news, reviews, and discussion here on the Nick Chino Music YouTube channel. I'm your host, Nick Chino. Thank you very much for joining me for this episode. We got the mics on, we got the devil horns up, and I'm here to talk about the latest headliner topics in the world of rock music news. If you're watching this episode on YouTube, I'd really appreciate if you gave me a thumbs up and liked this video, shared it with your friends and fellow rock fans, and of course, subscribe to the channel as well so you don't miss out on future videos. If you're listening to the audio version of this podcast on Spotify or Apple Music or wherever you're listening to, we'd really appreciate a rating and review so we can spread the word about the podcast so more people can listen to it and check it out. And you can follow me on social media as well across platforms at Nick Chino Music. And if you're watching this video on YouTube right now, you can check out my latest video that I uploaded this past weekend, which is 10 awesome Oasis songs for people who hate Oasis. You know, sometimes I feel like Oasis gets a bad rap, you know. I know the Gallagher brothers can be a little bit much sometimes, but musically, I feel like sometimes Oasis doesn't really get the due and the credit that they deserve for being just a great rock and roll band and a diverse rock and roll band with really a great depth to their songwriting that I feel like maybe some of the general public or the Oasis haters don't really know about. So as a huge Oasis fan, I felt like it was my duty to make the Oasis haters believe in the band. So I listed 10 awesome Oasis songs for people who hate Oasis, and you can check that out right now on the YouTube channel. A lot of people have already watched it. Really appreciate everybody checking it out, and if you haven't watched it, it's up there right now for you to check out right here on the YouTube channel. But let's get to our headliner topics on this edition of the Rock News Roundup Podcast, and that is Billy Corgan is going to be teaming up with an opera company in Chicago to celebrate the 30th anniversary of Mellon Collie and the Infinite Sadness. Spinal Tap going to be returning to theaters in I think September of this year. It's going to be really, really exciting. And then Gene Simmons, you can pay $12,000 to be his roadie for a day. We'll get to those headliner topics in just a bit, but let's kick things off with the first headliner topic on this edition of the Rock News Roundup Podcast. And that is, has the Oasis reunion lineup been revealed? According to the NME, which you can always trust, they have revealed the supposed lineup for the Oasis reunion tour. Again, this is not really confirmed in any sort of way by Oasis. It's not officially confirmed by the band, so it's all just rumors right now. It's speculation, but according to the NME, they know the reunion lineup for the Oasis reunion tour. And if you're an Oasis fan, like, worth your salt, if you're somebody who's been paying attention, this really shouldn't be any surprise to you. And actually, last year, around the time the Oasis reunion was announced, I did a speculation video here on the channel where I speculated about the possible members that could be up there with Liam and Noel when the band gets back together for the reunion shows later this year. It's coming up really soon in just a few months when they play their first shows. So let's take a look at the supposed revealed lineup from the NME for the Oasis reunion, and this is as follows. Well, the first couple of members make sense. Liam and Noel Gallagher are going to be there, of course, but then the NME is reporting that Gem Archer, of course, on guitar is going to be in there as well. Andy Bell is going to be back on bass. Bonehead, Paul Arthurs, is going to be in there as well. And then a little bit of a curveball here for the drummer for the reunion tour. They're saying that Joey Warnker is going to be in the reunion lineup for Oasis. Now, he's a pretty well-known name in the world of rock. He's played with a lot of different bands over the years. He's always been kind of a go-to guy, a go-to session guy, a go-to live guy for a lot of bands, including Liam Gallagher and John Squire on their solo album and tour last year. So that's who they're saying is going to be on drums for this reunion tour. And I think pretty much this lineup is to be expected. I think, pretty much any Oasis fan would guess that these guys would be on stage with the Gallagher brothers when they do the reunion tour. But I'm actually a little bit surprised by some of this, because I'm surprised that Chris Sherrock isn't going to be part of this, because he was part of BDI. He was part of Oasis right before they broke up, and then he's played with Noel Gallagher and the High Flying Birds over the last couple of years as well. I think I was reading some rumors online that he's busy, he's doing something else. So maybe you can let me know in the comments what Chris Sharrock is doing. So I thought that was a little bit surprising, because I thought that he would be, out of all the Oasis drummers that they've had over the years, I feel like Chris Sharrock would be the most likely to be up on stage with Oasis. Of course, taking a look at the other ex-members of Oasis, Tony McCarroll, that's not going to happen. Alan White, I know a lot of fans were really pulling for that. A lot of people really wanted Alan White to be on there, but to be honest, he's not my favorite Oasis drummer. Did a lot of really cool stuff with them, but I really would kind of be disappointed if he was on drums with them. Zach Starkey, I don't think was going to be part of that, even though I think Zach Starkey is the best drummer Oasis ever had. Aside from Steve White, Alan White's brother, when I saw Oasis in 2001 on the tour Brotherly Love in Toronto, Steve White, Alan White's brother, was on stage with Oasis, and he was awesome. He kicked a lot of ass. I would love to see him play with them. So you know what, the whole drummer situation, they do have a lot to choose from. It's kind of surprising that they're not going with any of the previous drummers that they've had in the band. But Joey Warnaker, I've heard he's really great live. I've never seen him live, but it sounds like from what people have told me and what I've seen online that he's really going to be able to fit the bill. And I know, some fans might be a little bit disappointed that the whole reunion thing is not going to be all the, original, or like all consisting of all original members of Oasis, right? We really, for the reunion to feel, to feel really legitimate, it's like it takes maybe everybody, the recognizable names from the Oasis lineup, to be on stage with them. But like, it's not as bad as maybe people were speculating, because a lot of people were saying, oh, the reunion lineup's just going to be Noel Gallagher's High Flying Birds with Liam on vocals, which kind of makes sense, because Noel Gallagher's High Flying Birds was made up of ex-Oasis members anyway. It had Noel in it, it had Gem in it, it had Chris Sharrock in it. I don't think they would have brought anybody else from that lineup in for this show, for these tours. So you know what? It's not quite what everybody was saying it was going to be, of Noel Gallagher's High Flying Birds, members being up there instead of ex-Oasis members. So you know what? We're going to find out soon either way, right? Because the tour is going to start in July, I believe. It starts in Cardiff, Wales, at the beginning of July. It's already, the middle of March. It's going to be April soon. And then we're only a few months away from the tour starting. So I think like we're going to be finding out more. It's been actually kind of disappointingly quiet since the band announced the reunion tour back in the fall, like late summer and fall of last year. It's been a little bit disappointing. Not that I expected them to do much, but they made the announcement. The tour tickets went on sale. They sold out. Everybody got their tickets, or a lot of people got their tickets. Not everybody, but a lot of people got their tickets. And then it's been kind of radio silence from the Gallagher brothers. I know there's a lot going on behind the scenes. We've seen various spy photos and photos of Noel Gallagher going into studios and doing that kind of thing. And Liam's been kind of joshing around with people on social media, but really nothing official has been coming out ever since then. So we're like in a little bit of a dry period, but I feel like this is the calm before the storm. I really do feel like over the next maybe couple of months, definitely leading up to that show, things are gonna ramp up. I feel like hopefully Noel and Liam will be doing some press. I know that I was hoping that there would be some new music involved, maybe a single or an album, but maybe that's a bigger long shot than a lot of us previously thought. So who knows what's going on right now? The Enemy has revealed the lineup, even though this is not official by any capacity, has not been confirmed or announced by Oasis themselves. So we're just still going to have to wait and see what's going on there. If there's going to be any more official announcements about anything leading up to the tour, we don't know, but I will be talking about it definitely on the podcast. So definitely be keeping things tuned here to the podcast for all the latest Oasis news. All right, so let's get to the next topic on this edition of the Rock News Roundup podcast, and that is: do you want to pay to be Gene Simmons' roadie? Well, now's your chance. Gene Simmons is offering an exclusive meet and greet fan experience for the low price of $12,495, where you get to pay to be Gene Simmons' roadie for a day. That rhymes. That wasn't intentional. So I guess with this package, it's $12,000. So it's quite a bit of money, at least for most people. For this package, you get to dine with Gene, whether it's backstage or at a restaurant or something like that. You get to have dinner or breakfast or lunch or whatever with Gene Simmons. You get to hang out backstage. You get to help out with the load in. You get to be a roadie and help move the equipment around. Maybe they'll let you put some faders up on the mixer. Who knows? And then you even get to go on stage during the show with Gene Simmons. You get some merch stuff, you get some swag, you get some cool stuff, and a signed bass from Gene Simmons in a couple of different formats. If you like his Axe bass, you can get that. You can get the Punisher bass, or you can get his Gibson G2 bass. So you get some signed Gene Simmons stuff. And actually, if you don't even want to do the roadie thing, you can pick up one of the signed basses on his website, I believe. So that's pretty cool. But really, how many chances do you get to be, a musician's slave essentially for a day, right? Now, I'm not saying Gene Simmons is evil or anything, but I don't know. Maybe he is. I don't think he's above some of these things. I feel like he would abuse his power a little bit, make you go grab sandwiches for him, maybe be his gopher for the day, go get coffee for the crew, that kind of thing. Maybe restring all of his basses, clean the toilets on the tour bus. Who knows? Right? This man cannot be trusted. I don't know Gene Simmons personally, but I feel like, he would try to exploit your free labor. You're actually paying him to be part of this experience. And really, $12,000 to loading gear. Amps are heavy. I've never had a roadie in my 25 years of being a musician. I've never ever had a roadie. My band never ever got big enough or made enough money to pay other people to tune our instruments or carry our gear. So I've been carrying my own shit for 25 years. And I've been, helping my fellow band members carry their shit. That's the thing. I'm not a selfish guy. I'm the singer in the band. I got to play my guitar. I got to bring my amp, but I always help the drummer bring in his stuff, help the bass player. I help my whole band. We help everybody. We all do it. We carry our shit. So, I don't really have $12,000 to carry Gene's gear. You know what I mean? I know there are some fans who are out there be like, man, $12,000 and I get to go hang out with Gene Simmons and get to go hang around with the crew. And hopefully the crew is showered sometime before this person hangs out backstage. I get that. That might be a cool experience. But the thing is, it's not even a Kiss show, right? It's solo Gene Simmons. I don't think I know a single solo Gene Simmons song. I know my fair share of Kiss, just like everybody else. Never got a chance to see Kiss live. I know they did their whole farewell tour, but I have a feeling like they're going to get back together at some point, right? And you know what? Funny fact, here in Hamilton, Ontario, where I live, one of my favorite movies of the late 90s, Detroit Rock City, the Kiss movie, starring Edward Furlong, among others, was filmed in my hometown of here in Hamilton. The final concert in the movie where they finally get to go see Kiss after going all through that hell to go see Kiss. The dudes go finally see them at the show, and that was filmed at Cops Coliseum, now called the First Ontario Centre, here in Hamilton. So there you go. There's a little bit of a local connection as well. So I guess if you are a big Kiss fan, a big Gene fan, this would be actually a very cool experience. It's $12,000, but I'm sure there's plenty of Kiss fans out there who have that money to spare and would really enjoy this experience. But here's the thing, okay, guys? Don't let Gene push you around, okay? I know he's Gene Simmons. He's very powerful. He's very influential, great bass player. He's a member of Kiss. He's a very, very charismatic man, but do not let him push you around. Make sure he treats you well. If you're going to give him $12,000, at least hopefully it's a good meal. You get to hang out with the crew. Maybe they'll just make you one of them. And maybe you could join the team permanently. Maybe this is more of an audition than it is a fan experience. This might be your chance to become a permanent member of Gene Simmons' road crew. So this is your shot. If you're really into it, got $12,000 to spare, give it to Gene, and you can be on his tour crew as a roadie for the day. Let me know in the comments below if this is something that you would go for. If you want to be Gene Simmons' roadie for a day, you can let me know in the comments below. But let's get to our next headliner topic on this edition of the Rock News Roundup podcast, and that it's finally here. 41 years later, the sequel to This Is Spinal Tap is becoming a reality. Spinal Tap II, The End Continues, will be hitting theaters on September the 12th, 2025. This is really cool. Christopher Guest, Michael McKean, and Harry Shearer are back in the film as Spinal Tap, and Rob Reiner is back to direct as well and co-star in the film. And it's going to feature some pretty great cameos as well from many people in rock royalty, including Elton John, Paul McCartney, and Garth Brooks, among others. Garth Brooks, maybe even Chris Gaines will be in it. So this one, this is really cool. I'm really excited to see that Spinal Tap is coming back to movie theaters. The original is obviously like an absolute classic. You know, the amps go to 11, and actually I wrote a song called "Goes to 11" because I'm such a huge Spinal Tap fan. I love that line, and there's so many great scenes in that movie, and I also really love the Spinal Tap cameo on The Simpsons. You remember that from, like, I don't know, is that what, season 3, season 4? I love that. We were coming down Route 401, This is a part of the show we're supposed to tell the audience they're the 5th member of the freaking group. It's such a classic episode of The Simpsons, and their bus crashes. It's hilarious. And then, of course, the classic sketch with Spinal Tap where every member of the band is playing bass. Like, that is, like, one of my favorite Spinal Tap moments. So, and the actual cool thing is that the original film is coming back to theaters as well as a re-release. So that's going to get you all ready to do Spinal Tap 2. And this would actually be a really cool, maybe a good double feature to go see in the theater as well. This is Spinal Tap, the original, and then 41 years later, Spinal Tap 2, The End Continues. And the only thing is, like, I'm hoping is that sometimes when you have a sequel that comes out so many years after the original, it can sometimes be a little bit disappointing. And there's been a lot of those kind of movies that have come out over the last, 20, 30 years where, it's a long time since the original film, and then they come and they make a sequel. It can be very, very hit and miss. Like, when I think about good ones, Star Wars The Force Awakens, I know a lot of people don't love that movie, but I thought that was really good. Like Bill and Ted Face the Music, that was 30 years after Bogus Journey, and I thought that movie it lived up to it. I was happy to see that. I thought that Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter did a really, really good job in that movie. Beetlejuice, which came out last year, I thought that was a decent sequel to a film that came out many, many years ago. But then you get into the bad category as well, right? Ghostbusters Afterlife was a really, really disappointing sequel that came out many, many years after Ghostbusters 2. Dumb and Dumber 2 was horrible. Independence Day Resurgence wasn't any good as well. So I have tempered expectations for Spinal Tap 2, but I think it will be good. And I think, Spinal Tap are in a league of their own in terms of comedy and the world of rock. And then you have the original cast members still involved. I know they're a lot older now, but you have the original cast members still involved. You have the director in there and Rob Reiner. So I feel like that gives it more legitimacy as a long-awaited sequel, because you have still a lot of those people who were originally associated with the original movie still involved. So I think this is really cool. So Spinal Tap 2, The End Continues, is going to be hitting theaters on September the 12th, 2025, and they're going to be turning up the amps to 11. So I'm pretty excited about that. Let me know in the comments below if you're excited for Spinal Tap to return to movie theaters in September. But let's get to our last headliner topic on this edition of the Rock News Roundup Podcast, and that is Billy Corgan is teaming up with an opera to do a 30th anniversary, actually a couple of anniversary shows to celebrate the 30th anniversary of the classic Smashing Pumpkins album, Mellon Collie and the Infinite Sadness. So I feel like there's like a new Smashing Pumpkins story every week that I'm talking about here on the show. Last week on the channel and here on the show, I talked about how Billy Corgan thinks that the Smashing Pumpkins are one of the most misunderstood bands in the history of rock, which I don't really agree with. And so it feels like I've been talking a lot about Smashing Pumpkins on the show. And this week we're talking about Billy going opera. Like I said, for the 30th anniversary of Mellon Collie and the Infinite Sadness, he's teaming up with the Lyric Opera of Chicago for a couple of shows this November. It's called A Night of Mellon Collie and the Infinite Sadness. Tickets for this series of shows go on sale on April the 11th. And according to Billy Corgan, according to the Lyric Opera, it's going to be an immersive, original sonic and visual experience that blurs the boundaries of rock, opera, and performance art. So it's going to be pretty cool from what I can tell. No word on what songs are going to be played. Obviously, they have the 28 songs from the original double album to choose from. But then obviously a huge plethora of B-sides that came out from the Mellon Collie and the Infinite Sadness era. So hopefully it's going to be a mix of songs from the album and the extensive B-sides from that era. And really, we think about it, 30 years. What a crazy milestone. I still remember hearing Mellon Collie and the Infinite Sadness for the first time and just freaking out at that album. It is such a dense album, but there are so many amazing songs. It's so lush. It's so dynamic. It's a very diverse collection of songs as well. And then when you think about some of the songs on here, like Tonight Tonight or Porcelina, The Vast Oceans, or Through the Eyes of Ruby, so many cool songs on this double album that I think would lend themselves to opera. And I'll give that to Billy Corgan, the Smashing Pumpkins, is that they're a very epic band, right? Very dramatic kind of band. That I think their music lends itself to a thing like another opera, like a style, musical style like opera. And I think this is going to be a really, really cool mix of these songs. Again, so many cool songs that they could play from Mellon Collie and the B-sides as well. That would really turn it into a very, very exciting show. And, I think we give Billy a lot of flack, but again, Pumpkin fans, I think diehard fans, like I don't live near Chicago, so I don't think I can go to these shows. But diehard Pumpkins fans, like this is the kind of thing that we're all about. I feel like, again, I said that Billy Corgan, I feel like he doesn't really give Pumpkins fans or hardcore Pumpkins fans like a lot of credit for following him along with during all of his ups and downs of his musical career. And I think this is like definitely going to be a peak of that because he's celebrating a classic album. He's doing something really cool artistically to represent the album in a new way 30 years later. And I think that big Pumpkins fans are going to be all about this. I think this is going to be very, very exciting. And I think, again, with Billy Corgan, I just feel like, he's not misunderstood. We as Pumpkins fans just want something cool. And this sounds really cool. So if you are in the Pumpkins, 30th anniversary of Mellon Collie and the Infinite Sadness, definitely going to be, I think it's later on this year that the 30th anniversary officially happens. So definitely going to be talking about more of that, about Mellon Collie and reminiscing about that album here on the channel. But if you want to reminisce with Billy Corgan for a night of Mellon Collie and the Infinite Sadness, again, tickets go on sale on April the 11th, and the shows are going to be happening this November with the Lyric Opera of Chicago. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think of this? Is this something you're excited about? Billy Corgan teaming up with an opera for Mellon Collie? You can let me know in the comments below. But that is going to do it for this edition of the Rock News Roundup Podcast, everybody. I want to thank you for listening and watching this episode wherever you're checking out this episode of the podcast. If you like this podcast, really appreciate if you toss me a thumbs up. Make sure to share this video with your friends and fellow rock fans. Make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on future videos. And you can also follow me on social media at Nick Chino Music. But I'll see you guys again for another edition of the Rock News Roundup Podcast. Until then, rock on, everybody.